That's what I did last night. I finished Cobra Kai, and it was perfect.
It was.
I
agree.
6 seasons of, you could say they milked the hell out of this. Our childhood favorite, Karate Kid. The second one was all right. Third one and the one with Jennifer Garner, right? Was it Jennifer Garner?
No.
Jennifer Grey. Jennifer Tilly.
Nope. No Jennifer.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Hilary Swank.
There you go.
There you go. Really, the one we all loved was the first one.
Second one was good.
But they took, you're right with Chosen.
Yeah. Chosen. Sato was a badass.
So they take 3 hours, 2 hour-and-a-half movies of the 80s, and they milked that crap for 6 seasons of fun. And everything about the last episode or so was perfect. I won't give anything away. I will say, I turned to my wife and I said, if they don't play, you're the best around, I'm going to be mad. And they did. That's the only thing I'll tell you.
They hit all the cheesy places you wanted it to go. It was cheesily awesome and perfect in every way. And that's definitely sports related if you want to dive into that. The Sakai Takai, am I right?
By the way,
great was that?
The fact that they had our buddy Kevin Burkhardt,
KB and Ryan Clark, too.
calling the Sakai Takai.
Yeah, that was great.
Was hilarious. And the fact that they insinuate that people at bars were watching karate, they lean into the cheese. And I said this to you when Fuller House was on Netflix. I said the only reason Fuller House worked was it was so cheesy, but they acknowledged it. Like Stamos would walk in the room and look at the camera. It'd be
and you know
have
what?
mercy.
It's almost expected. You're describing two 80s shows, right? Yeah. Two 80s brands that leaned into the cheese, much like Rich Davis does. Mayor McCheese and Covino, the mac and cheese of Fox Sports Radio. I don't know if you've seen Cobra Kai yet, but highly recommend it if you grew up loving Karate Kid. They even brought back, they've done it in the past, so I can say it again, AI versions of Miyagi. And I thought it was awesome.
It was really good.
And as Rich said earlier this morning, AI is amazing. Am I right? You want to tell everybody what you did and you're so proud of it?
Oh, no. We designed my daughter's softball team logo. And it's amazing how you could kids can come up with any name. You could be we're the Ice Crushers. That's how, I don't know why the girls came up with that, but you come up with any name, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop, pop it in AI. It's miraculous.
AI taking our jobs. There's highly qualified people that design logos.
Yep.
Out of a job.
AI.
Rich.
They took our jobs.
Right. We can come up with a Covino and Rich logo, a new one like this, better than the one we have.
Sorry, designers.
Exactly.
But I did watch Cobra Kai last night.
So
and
good.
I'm throwing it up there.
It really was perfect. The perfect ending.
While cheesy, no doubt. No diggity, no doubt. It hit all the feels, as the kids say. It hit all the points. It wrapped up perfectly. The storyline, I didn't want to give anything away by saying it wrapped up perfectly. I feel like you know where it goes. But
it was refreshing to get what you want out of a show, because so often you watch a show and the writers do what they do. They create a storyline. You either like it or you don't.
Yeah, this is my storyline. I'm the writer.
Well, it's their story. They could write, whatever they want for the character. But you as the viewer are sitting there like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It's not how I wanted this character's life or season or story to end. But nanny poo-poo to you, because you don't make that call. You're sitting there watching Cobra Kai, and you're thinking to yourself, I want this to happen. And it all happens, so it feels a little predictable. But for some reason, here's the magic of the show that I really can't describe. For some reason, it's great.
I said it to my wife.
It's expected. It's cheesy, but for once, you got everything you wanted, and it felt okay. I liked it. I'm like, you know what? I like this.
People love to say, the Game of Thrones ending? Oh, I hated how they did that. Or How I Met Your Mother, the mother dies. That's what the writer wanted. Guess what? It's not your show.
And it kind of makes sense, Rich. It's like, I'll tie it into sports, right? It is the Sakai Takai, the International Karate World Championship.
To me, that's the funniest running joke on the whole show. That karate is really popular to the point where, again, like I said, Kevin Burkhardt's calling it, and people in bars are watching it. To me, that's the funniest like inside joke throughout the whole show.
I mean, it's not impossible. UFC's a thing, so it's not impossible. This is not an octagon. That's about it. But it's like watching your team take it all the way and win, right? It's like, hey, that was great. So why would we be so opposed to watching a character, watching a TV show, and all the things that you want to happen for characters that you root for happens? You're like, you're left feeling like my team won. I like it.
I promise you, I'm not the a-hole that midway through a show is like, pause it. You know what's going to happen? This is going to happen. This is going to happen. My wife does that once in a while.
It's going to end with a crane kick. Watch.
And, my wife will be the person that pauses the show, and they're like, you know who the killer is? It's the unassuming nanny. And I'm like, all right, well, way to go, Columbo. Way to go, honey. I'm not that guy, but with 2 episodes left, I paused it, and I go, I love how predictably awesome and cheesy this is. And I listed, like, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And then...
You think the Dodgers and the Eagles care that the story ended the way they wanted it to?
No, you wanted this ending, and for anyone that is reluctant to finish Cobra Kai, I'm sort of over it, I promise you. It wraps up in the cheesiest, most awesome way, and dare I say, a little heart-tugging, because it sort of closes a chapter of one of your favorite movies. If you were a kid in the 80s, Goonies, Back to the Future, Karate Kid, these are all in your wheelhouse. So to me, it wrapped up perfectly. I'm glad I didn't jump on it right away. I feel like I let it breathe over the last week, and it was fantastic. The end.
Well, for sake of conversation, though, there's a new world that begins after, because Cobra Kai truly never dies, right? The show's over, but it never dies. We know that. Karate Kid Legends is a movie that's already in the works, and the teaser's out, and it stars Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, and it looks really good. It looks like a motion picture and feels like a motion picture. It has a different vibe. It doesn't feel like a cheesy Netflix show that we know to be Cobra Kai. It's a whole different world and spin-off from that brand, and it looks cool. So check that out if you're into it. But the Sakai Takai, the biggest event in sports, we have it covered here on the COVINO and Rich show. And your thoughts, 877-99 on Fox. Rich is right. We put a nice little bow on something pretty awesome. It really is the story that could. It's the Cleveland Indians in Major League. It's the team that no one believed in that won the World Series, because when that show came out, no one really cared about it. It was on YouTube Red. No one cared. You and I were talking about it. All of a sudden, Netflix picks it up.
We had those guys. We had those guys on our show.
Yeah.
We had Billy Zapka and Macchio talking about, hey, we sort of revamped, Karate Kid. YouTube picked it up and
becomes one of the biggest shows. 6 seasons of, I say stellar and awesome facetiously, but it really was entertainment. Yeah. Put it that way.
Did you
it
say taintment?
I did, because it tickles my. You know what? Yeah, it tickles me in all the right spots. It wasn't the highest quality show. We're not drinking the Cobra Kool-Aid, but
they have Cobra
as
Kool-Aid?
far as they should, right? But as far as entertaining, it delivered. It really did, and it made a lot of money for those dudes. And props to all of them. They kept us entertained for 6+ seasons.
Dare I say, Johnny Lawrence, Billy Zapka. I'm not saying win an award.
Right.
But the guy deserves a pat on the back, because
yes,
I think of all the mediocre acting on this really fun show, I think there's something who said that. I think William Zapka, Billy Zapka, pretty good actor.
He carried the show. There's no doubt. It wouldn't be anything without Daniel LaRusso, Ralph Macchio, but Billy Zapka was the heart and soul of that. His acting is stellar in comparison to everybody else for sure. And what I loved about the show is it came back to what made it great in the beginning, which was Johnny Lawrence, Billy Zapka, and his relationship with Miguel. So again, it's over. If you haven't watched it, hopefully we didn't spoil anything.
It's really good.
It's really good. And
now on to
White Lotus.
White
And
Lotus.
The point of this is, you got the NBA All-Star break, baseball, spring training, so you're getting a few stories here and there.
Oh, Juan Soto.
Football, it's the post-Super Bowl blues.
Juan Soto's already fired me up. Let's go Mets. So
it's the perfect time to catch up on these shows, and watch the endings to Cobra Kai or season 3 White Lotus or whatever else you're diving into.
Based on what we're saying about Cobra Kai, you could put that show aside. What other TV show in your life do you feel like wrapped it up perfectly?
Not too many. Everybody always complains, whether it be Seinfeld or Sopranos or you already mentioned Game of Thrones.
How I Met Your Mother.
You're always left feeling disappointed because it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. And then there's a part of you that says, well, if it turned out the way I wanted it to, that would be predictable and corny. But I'll tell you what, I already tied it into, well, your team won this year, and you were pretty happy about that. I felt like all the characters of the storyline sort of won the way I wanted them to, and I was okay with it. It felt good. I think we're at a time and place maybe where we needed to see a win and feel good about something. We didn't need to be left with a cliffhanger. We didn't need to figure it out. We didn't need Dexter in the woods like a lumberjack. We got something fulfilling, and it worked. I don't know if that always works, that formula, but it tied up perfectly, and it felt good.
I have 2 sitcom answers that are hard to deny.
That ended perfectly?
That I think ended perfectly.
I honestly can't think of any.
I got 2, and then, hey, light them up. Let's get the interaction going. Most interactive show on Fox Sports, on any network for that matter. COVINO Rich, hit us up.
It's got to be a show, though. It can't be a movie, right? Because you invest in years in a show.
Every movie is designed to sort of wrap up the right way. Shows, however, take on a life of their own. I got 2, and then Danny G, what's up, buddy?
Dude, I got 1.
Yeah,
I can only think of 1.
I don't want to steal yours, so...
I think I know one of them that Rich is thinking. But, Rich, why did you stare right at me when you said the most interactive show in all of radio?
Because Danny G is on the phones, and Danny G's always tweeting people and texting and everything. Why? What else?
When I left yesterday, as we fill in for Dan Patrick, my phone air was numb because you guys took so many calls yesterday.
Nice.
So you say that, and it's not hyperbole.
No. We want to hear from you now at 877-99 on Fox. I think Rich and I share in one, so let me have the one.
Okay, I'll give you the other one first. Then. I'll...
As an 80s kid growing up, there's only one show, in my opinion, that I could recall that ended perfectly because it ended the way it started. Yep. And it was very, very nice. Hey, hey, Angela, Mona, Jonathan. Hey, I heard you're looking for a housekeeper. Oh. Tony Maselli comes back. You think he's gone, but he comes back with a suit on, right?
A tuxedo.
And he's like, hey, I heard you're looking for a housekeeper. Oh. And he asks, Angela, will you marry me? And I think he asks for her hand, but I remember he comes back, and I'm like, oh, wow, how sweet is that?
It ended perfectly. Who's the boss starts with a young Tony Danza knocking on the door, looking for the housekeeper job. And like COVINO said, it ends with him knocking on the door. Remember, he took like the college coaching job.
Yep.
But he's like, yo, I miss you, Angela.
Because the whole show was like, are they in love? Are they going to be together? Because he was the nanny and she was like the successful lawyer lady that hired him. But there was always that chemistry there, and you watched a whole. I'll look it up now. How many seasons did it run?
You know what? A lot of those 80 shows did not run as long as we thought. I would give me 5 seasons, 6 seasons, maybe.
But either way, it wrapped up the way you wanted it to, and it was nice, and it was okay.
Made my mom cry.
Yeah, it feels corny, but I don't know. I think it works sometimes.
All right, as far as dramas go, let me get this out of the way. A more recent show. COVINO didn't watch because he said he likes to cry about real life stuff, not fake stuff.
Yeah, I don't need shows to inspire
emotions
and emotions. Who's the Boss ran for 8 seasons, starting in '84.
Damn.
So
that's that. By the way, 84 to
92.
84 to 92 is such a window of television. If you're like 40ish,
yeah,
that's
your
me childhood right there.
Through junior high.
And there's lessons in that theme song. There's a brand new life around the bend. There were times. You lost a dream or two.
Can I ask you a question before we move on? It's a little bit of a pervy question.
Yeah.
But if you could have a grown-up Alyssa Milano, grown-up meaning, whenever you thought she was at her best.
Yeah.
Judith Light, Angela, or sexy-ass Grandma Mona.
I think Mona lays it down the hardest. Mona is up there with
the horniest mom on TV.
Listen. Mona?
Who was hornier, her, Mrs. Roper, or Peg Bundy?
Those are the top 3.
Pick your redhead.
Mona wanted to jump Tony I think he got the job because remember Mona's like, Angela, you're hiring him. She just wanted to see Tony's abs.
So you would take Mona Robinson over Samantha and Angela Bauer?
Yes, but if you open it up to Mrs. Roper or Peg Bundy, I don't know, Peg Bundy in her prime?
Yeah, she wanted
I don't
some
know.
Al Bundy
With
in a
those,
bad way.
with those high heels on, and she's like, ow! All right, another show that wrapped it up great, This Is Us. I know it's a drama and it's all emotional, but This Is Us I thought was beautiful.
Boo, Rich is a cheese ball.
I love, Danny, I'm the cheesiest when it comes to those shows.
Same show.
Like, maybe the best show in the last 10 years.
Rich has a big head.
So This Is Us, I do. This Is Us I thought was great, but as far as cheesy shows back in the day, that was a drama. Did she get off the plane? Did she get off the plane? I got off the plane. The Ross and Rachel ending to Friends, and they walk out of the empty apartment and that corny 90s frame is still on the door. Friends did end in a really good way.
It ended with people getting together for like parties, though. That was like a huge farewell and ending because I never watched that show ever. I watched Amigos on Telemundo. It was way better.
It's Amigos. You're
But
so dumb.
I remember like my girlfriend and all her friends and family at the time were like, we're having a Friends finale party. And I watched that.
You were
I remember,
too cool for Friends.
I never watched it ever, but I remember how big of a deal it was. And I remember just watching, not caring at all, but they loved it. And people were crying.
Jeez, I mean, like, to deny one of the biggest shows of the 90s, even if it was cheesy. Jeez, come on.
I mean, I'm just telling you, I didn't watch it personally.
All right, I'll give you one that, and you're going to be like, ooh, I never thought of it that way. Because of how bad Seinfeld ended, they all agree it was like the weakest ending. If you're a fan of Curb wraps up perfectly because of its acknowledgement in the finale of how bad the Seinfeld finale was. So Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David wraps up perfectly because of the tie-in to Seinfeld.
Hey, can I tie this into sports and broadcasting?
Did you ever see the Curb finale?
The Curb finale? I have not. No.
It's
no. I did.
It's so good.
So well done.
Yeah.
That's the one I wrote down here. I knew you were going to say that.
Ah, all right.
Yeah, no, I did. But I didn't watch the whole last season, to be honest. I have to, though.
It's so freaking good.
I know. I'm going to tie this into broadcasting and sports just because, I mean, it's two things I love. And we'll open it up to you, Fox Sports Radio Nation. It's the first answer that comes to me of a show that wrapped up perfectly when I think about it.
I mean, we were talking about Cobra Kai on Netflix. I finally finished last night, and it really was. It was fantastic. It was all the cheese you possibly could have wanted.
I said to Rich off the air, though, if you would have told me, because I'm more of a negative Norberto, if you'd have told me that the show wraps up the exact way you would want it to, this happens, that happens, this happens, and that happens, I would be like, well, that's kind of corny. But the point here is it really worked, and it felt great. It felt like your team winning. So it's like saying, well, if your football team wins, are you happy?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, guess what? All these characters that you rooted for 6 seasons, it works out like the way you kind of wanted it to, and it left you feeling good, and that's rare.
I'm torn on this because I love the happy, cheesy ending of a show that you invest in, but I also roll my eyes when people get mad at it ending, like Game of Thrones didn't end the way I wanted. Well, because
hey,
guess what?
Life doesn't always, and shows don't always end the way you want them to.
Who's the nerd that writes that? George R.R. Martin? Well, that wasn't his vision. So if you want it to end the way you want it to end, you write a show.
So based on the Sakai Takai, the international karate champion, Cobra Kai wrapped up. Rich finally watched it.
Yeah, it was great.
We ask you, are there other shows that come to mind that wrapped up perfectly? 877-99 on Fox, and then we got to talk LeBron.
What do we say? This Is Us, Friends, Who's the Boss, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I'll start with the 96 World Series, the Yankee team.
Well,
That wrapped up perfectly.
If you want to
for
talk
me.
about things that wrapped up like beautifully,
I'll go with last year's World Series.
Yeah.
I'll go with.
I didn't like the ending to
honestly,
that one, man.
Storyline. If you want
Let's
to,
go Dodgers.
if you want to go like movie script storyline, the Cleveland Cavs team that won with LeBron coming back and beating the best regular season team ever in the Golden State Warriors. How about the '86 Mets, who were a miraculous, always coming from behind, best team in the league, Game 6 and then winning Game 7. How about, I hate to say it, the '04 Red Sox? If you haven't seen that documentary on Netflix,
Well, you know
down 3-0 to the Yankees, who just dominated them year after year.
To
and
tie
then,
it into sports, you battle through so many losing seasons. just to feel that sense of victory and one here and there, right?
Here and there, I was talking to my friends last night. I said, hey, we're in our 40s now. You think we'll ever see a Mets World Series? Like, for real, though. Like,
so there's
some
so
teams
many,
go 50
so
to
many
100 years.
shows that you watch that don't even get to an ending. They get canceled, right? So you invest and then it's canceled. So many shows that you watch where the ending is sort of ass. You're like, that's how it ended? It was nice to get a win from Cobra Kai.
Can I tell you the one that upset me the most as a kid?
All right, let me think about it.
I'm
Alf, because it was the only show you really loved.
Hey.
Alf.
Star Trek.
Hey, you can make fun of me all you want, but that's my answer, dummy.
See? You're more predictable than Cobra Kai.
I was a kid in the 80s and 90s. I loved Alf. I had the little puppet things you got at Burger King. Other kids had the Teddy Ruxpin. I had an Alf.
No, nerds had Teddy Ruxpin. What kids had Teddy Ruxpin besides my sister?
Our buddy Spot, our video guy.
Exactly, nerds.
He had my buddy. I'm like, you actually had that? Yeah. Anyway, I had an Alf where you would pop cassettes in his back, and he would tell stories of Melmac.
And he told a story that you didn't like?
No. On the TV show Alf, it ended with the alien task force and the Tanners on both sides of Alf, and it's like, to be continued, Willie. Then the show never got renewed. And I'm like, did Alf get kidnapped by the FBI or the alien task force or not? And I remember as a kid being like, this stinks.
Wow, man. That was a life lesson. That everything goes the way you want it to go.
You had Alf. I had a Mr. T lunchbox. And nobody brought up the ending of A-Team.
I don't remember how it ended.
That was perfect.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No, are you serious?
Hannibal with a cigar, yeah.
Really? I don't even remember.
Love it when a show wraps up and comes together.
By the way, Covino and I used to have a code word based on A-Team. If we see a girl passing with a big ass, Covino and I would go, yo, B.A. Baracus. Big ass.
Yo, B.A. Check out the B.A. Baracus.
B.A. Baracus.
Big ass. That was before everybody had a big fake ass here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that was like back
when you ooh, look at that.
Ooh, she earned it.
Ooh.
Yo, B.A. Baracus.
Ooh, she's blessed.
Keith, Tucson, Covino and Rich in for Dan Patrick. What show had a great ending? What's up?
Tearjerker, and it ended perfect, was The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Bro.
Oh, so good.
Bro, when I'll be honest.
Is that when he's sitting in the empty room?
No, you're going to that's the end of every show. No, but honestly, you're going to make me cry thinking about it. No, but
when you cry,
shut
I'm going to
up.
beat you down here in the studio.
That was one of the rare TV shows that did make us cry.
Yo, Danny G. Covino was oddly missed Fresh Prince. Like, he's like, I've seen it here and there, but
dude, I quit. This is the truth. I lived a very 80s childhood, but I quit at growing pains. After that, I was out, scamming on chicks and hitting home runs.
Yeah, blame K-Rock in New York.
Yeah, I was out living life.
Danny,
after
like
that.
the eye rolling.
Actually, I quit at Wonder Years. That was it for me. I'm like, all right, I'm done with sitting at home with mom and dad.
The eye rolling that I display on a regular basis, hanging out with Covino, where anything I mention, his answer is, "Oh, you were doing that while I was out busy getting ass." Is that narrative never gets old?
I was at baseball practice.
I was
at football practice.
Hitting home runs or getting beautiful women. Sorry,
dude, I wasn't
Covino.
sitting home TGIF watching Urkel.
Did I do that?
Did I do that?
Well,
it was you age out of it. That's all it is.
All right, well, all I'm saying is when Will and Carlton popped in it's not unusual, one more time. One more time, and they dance in the pool house. How do you not love that moment? Unless you were out getting ass or hitting home runs. All right, Adam in Boise. What's up, Adam?
What up, Adam? What's going on, bro? Enjoying some Dutch Bros this morning?
So I got my best and then my worst.
Okay,
for you.
What you got?
Cheers.
It's a good one.
Grew up watching that show with my dad. That last episode was one of those like, oh man, it's over, right, kind of thing. Yeah. I didn't do Cobra Kai yet. I apologize. I will start it because you guys keep talking about it.
It's good. I guarantee you. It's cheesy enough where you'll be entertained.
Please understand. We recognize it's the cheesiest, but the magic is
it works.
It works, and we don't know why, and it feels good, and that's great. And it always baffles me when I see the ages now when it comes to Cheers, the ages of the actors at the time, like George Wendt. George Wendt, by the way, who's Jason Sudeikis' uncle. Look that up. I didn't know that. he was like 35 years old. You're like, that dude was 35?
What? Yeah,
oh, they're all in their 30s and 40s.
All the guys that hung out at the bar
Yeah.
and Cheers were in their 30s or 40s. Just sort of how like when you see the Golden Girls and it's like, wait, they were like women in their 50s or
Exactly.
40s? What?
It really baffles you. You're like, wow.
But give me Andrew. Oh, we let him go. He had a bad one too. Anyway, Andrew, Ohio, what's up?
Breaking Bad was, I thought, the best. Had the best finale.
You know, some people didn't like it, and I was like, what did you expect? Like, the bad guy to,
Yeah.
I mean, it ended the way it probably should have.
Yeah, my girl said, why couldn't they have let him cook one final batch?
Or,
Like,
what
all
was
right,
the son's
meth
name?
head.
What was the son's name? The King of Breakfast?
Walt Jr.
Yeah, Walt Jr. should have been like the next head guy or something. That would have been cool.
Let's go to Andrew in Ohio. Andrew, what's up, man? Oh,
Breaking Bad was-
we just had him. Okay, I'm sorry. Fred in West Virginia. What's up, Fred?
I had something for you, but now with that Alf drop, you kind of crushed me. I need to call my therapist.
That left us all hanging as kids. What's
Rich
up, man?
still wonders
like, it just
every once in a
stirred
while.
up
Rich
some
still wonders.
emotion. Hey, I had a best and a worst. You already kind of addressed the Friends. I love that ending. I thought it was pretty dope. My worst, and just handing over my man card now. 18 years ago, I met my wife, and now my now wife, and she got me into the Gilmore Girls, and that was mostly so I could like make out and stuff, like I watched the show.
Yeah.
And now I know every single thing about that stupid show, and the ending was trash.
You know what's so funny?
stupid.
My father-in-law, my wife's stepdad, and Covino will tell you, he's like a 6'5" burly Texan.
Yeah.
His weakness is like, oh, I do love Gilmore Girls.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
Who is it? Who's in the like,
you know
who
what?
are,
I know
who
all
are
the
the Gilmore
I know all
Girls?
those cheesy shows, but
I
for
gotta
some
look
reason
them
I
up.
don't know that one. Let's go to Fish in PA. What's up, Fish?
Hey, guys. Yeah, they stole mine, Breaking Bad, but I thought Walt should have blown himself up before he died.
Yeah. Breaking Bad was such a great show. I mean, it's hard to decide how you would have wanted to end that because it was such a complex show. Like, he's an anti-hero, so what are you really rooting for? Greg in Florida, wrap it, bud.
Hey, number one, first thing and foremost, you consider me poached. I'm officially poached to your show.
Nice.
I mean, it's you guys are awesome, man.
Thanks a lot, man.
The poaching has begun. I'm going to go with an oldie, but a goodie. I'm going to go with the original Magnum PI.
How did Magnum wrap up? Was it just like I don't even remember that.
He had his daughter, and decided to devote himself to her. I think he was moving stateside. They found out Higgins was Robin Masters. It was kind of cool, kind of unraveled some things, but it also left it open to come back open. And I think a good ending should leave it with a chance to come back open.
You know what one comes to mind, too? You talked about all your 80s favorites, Covino, before you were the man.
Mm-hmm.
Growing Pains was one of those where they all leave the empty house. Like, remember they moved and they're all sitting there in the empty house, very much like Friends. Usually when a finale ends with everyone sitting around the empty
We gotta
house.
move, Maggie. They moved?
Ben,
Maggie-
to your room one last time. Was Boner there? Remember his best friend Boner?
That's sad, dude.
I don't think you could say that on
I mean,
network.
it was his
It
name.
was his name.
Yeah. Remember Stabone? What was it?
Sylvester Stallone. Oh, no, that was his dad's name. Andrew Stabone, I think. Boner. So, anyway, based on the Cobra Kai ending, it was perfect. We ask you. It's like watching the perfect season. It's like watching your team win and all those great things. Rich finally watched the ending. It's available now on Netflix.